Hey guys, welcome back to my Practically Imperfect Life. It's a new month, which means new goals, so grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Let's chat about what's coming up in March. So hello my friends, welcome back to my Practically Imperfect Life. I'm a little late on getting out my March goals because the last week of February was just crazy in our household. Not only was I swamped with the baking business, which is a great problem to have, I'm not complaining about that, but on top of that, I had a commitment for finishing up an end of the year video for my kids' basketball league. We had our regional tournaments, which took us out of town for a couple of days. My grandpa fell and went into the hospital, and then a week later, another family member went into the hospital. Then on top of that, one of my cats tried to die on us, but we got her to the emergency vet, she got treated, and she is doing much better. In fact, here's a little picture where she was curling up next to me, letting me know that she was gonna keep on kicking for a while longer. So it was just a lot. And so I actually took some time off from editing and filming, and I thought I just need to cut something from my plate for a week, and that is what got cut. But I'm sure you've all been there where we just have those crazy moments. However, overall, the month of February went really well. There were a lot of things we were able to get accomplished. Felt really good about the month until we got to that last week, which was just but it was a pretty good month overall as far as my goals and intentions went. So for those who might be new, welcome. My name's Abby. I'm a homeschooling mom, and I love to share goals here because one, you guys keep me accountable, and also I would love to try to encourage you back in reaching your own goals. And I share 5 goal categories: health, faith and personal, homeschooling, home and garden, family relationships. So let's just dive right on in. So health goals. I have been slowly increasing my daily water intake because I hate drinking plain water. In fact, I've got a cup of coffee this morning. But I will switch over to water after that. So I have been baby stepping my daily goal up. I had 36 ounces a day in February, did it every single day. Oh, that was awesome. I also had a goal to do moments outside as much as possible because those winter blues were really starting to get to me, that whole just desperate desire to get out into whatever sunshine I could. And we didn't have a ton of sunny days in February, but I did get outside quite a bit, got some yard cleanup done, and took the dog out, walked around with him, sat out on the porch on nice days, and that just did amazing things for my mental health. Needed it so badly. So we are going to keep bumping up that water goal. We're up to 40 now. But my other health goal for the month of March is to get my annual blood work done. And this is something that, as a healthcare provider, so I'm a nurse full-time, that I always feel is really important because basic lab panels, CBC, BMP, those will tell you a lot about what's going on in your body. How different things are leveling off, where you might be low, where you might be high. And so every year I always ask my primary care provider if I can get a lab panel done. Because a lot of times they won't recommend it automatically. Some doctors will, but a lot won't unless you ask for it. So I always ask for it. My last visit, they said that I could do that. I always do a liver panel as well, so I've got to do the whole fasting thing. But I want to make sure I get that done in the month of March. It just helps me to kind of monitor trends because I'm watching a couple of things. I mentioned in last month's video that I do occasionally get a heart arrhythmia. It's nothing major, nothing serious, but it's always something that I monitor. And so I keep a close eye on my lab values. I keep a close eye on how my blood pressure is trending, how I'm feeling. So that way, if there are adjustments I need to make to help with that, I can. So blood work, increase water. Family and relationships, our goals were a date night and is celebrating my daughter's 17th birthday. We met those goals. Her birthday party was a lot of fun. We had the family all over. We had a big kind of like Mexican food dinner. It's what she requested. In fact, her boyfriend came over and they made like homemade guacamole together, and they made brownies, which we served at the party. We made enchiladas. She had requested a Taylor Swift themed cake. I'll throw a picture up here. She gave me this quote and I thought it was like incredibly perfect. She's like, it's the only year I can put this on my cake. So that's what we did. We just had a good time celebrating her. So in March, I have 2 family goals. So one is related to my grandpa, who I mentioned at the beginning. So he is almost 90. His memory is declining very rapidly, but he loves photos. He loves family photos. He loves photo books. We've gotten him photo books from like Shutterfly the last couple of years of all of the different family members. And I wanted to make a specific little photo book for him, kind of like a scrapbook of a who's who in the family. Because while he can remember names from time to time, he's having trouble remembering, exactly who that person is to him. Like he'll call me Abby, but I don't think he always remembers that I'm Abby, his granddaughter, and that my mom is Darcy, his daughter, and that my kids are Emma and Ethan. And so I wanted to do a very simple book for him where it's like, well, here's a picture of me. This is your granddaughter, Abby. Her kids are Emma and Ethan, and like Abby's a nurse, and like just some basics, and do that for, most of the immediate family members, his kids, his grandkids, and like their spouses and everything. And I thought I would just put that together. In fact, I've already got the pictures printed. I have a slew of scrapbooking supplies up in my craft room, so it's just going to be putting that together for him. But I feel like he would like that, and maybe it will help as people are visiting him for him to kind of see who they are to him. The other family goal has to do with each of my kids, because we are trending into that spring-summer season. My son shot up a couple of inches again, so nothing fits. Again, he's got all these barely worn clothes that now we get to resell or donate. So we need to go do some shopping. Now, my daughter doesn't need as much stuff, but what I want to do is a kind of a spring-summer shopping date with each of them, and I want to do it separately. One, so again, I can get some one time with each of them. I've spent a lot of individual time with my daughter the last couple of months doing like the college tours, and so I really need to give my son that same opportunity to have some time together. Plus, he's so excited about this, so he applied to be what's called a junior servant at a summer camp near here. You can't be a full-on counselor until you've graduated high school, but when you're in high school, you can be what's called a junior servant, or kind of like a junior counselor. It's a wonderful Christian summer camp. He went for many years when he was younger, and he was so excited to get the position. He's just thrilled. So he'll actually be gone for 2 weeks for that, and then he's going to do a third week where he's actually attending a camp for high schoolers. So he'll be gone for 5 days, home for the weekend, gone for 5 days, home for the weekend, and so on. But he's excited. He desperately needs clothes. So we'll go out, we'll do shopping, we'll go to lunch, and we'll do that. Faith and personal goals. So I have been reading through the Bible, and I got through Deuteronomy and Numbers and Leviticus. Like I got those books done. So I'm done with the first 5, which, that's a big chunk. And I'll be real honest, when you get to things like Leviticus, it's kind of slow reading. So I'll be working ahead the next couple of chapters. So just started on Joshua. We're going to see how far I can get in March. I had a goal of no credit card spending in the month of February. I put my credit cards away in our safe, so I could not get to them. I took them off all of the online sites that store cards, so that way it just wasn't an option. And I'll tell you what, like I was successful, but boy, it kind of took a mental shift. In fact, we were down in Indianapolis for a couple of days for our regional basketball tournament, and there's a lot of downtime. So, between games, so you might go like to the mall or something like that. And it really made me stop and say, well, we'll look, but we're not going to buy anything, because there was, no easy access to extra, funds that way. I had what I had brought for the tournament, and that was it. And we, were using that primarily for like food and things like that. And so it got me really kind of in that mindset of, well, do you really need this? And even when it came to, like I ordered all my dahlias for my garden in February, really sticking to the budget I had set for myself, because I, was basically paying cash for those. So successful. And I was really excited to do that. I also finally started a quilt to keep for home, because I make quilts and I give them away as gifts, but I don't keep them. And I wanted to make one to keep. I got everything cut. I got blocks mostly put together. I have a few more blocks to do, and then I will piece that top, and that will be done. So hopefully, in the next week or 2, I will get the top of that finished. And this particular quilt, I'm not going to quilt it myself. I can do like straight line quilting and some meandering, but I can't do the fancy stuff on my quilting machine. I don't have a big long arm and everything, and I'd really like this one to be done up really nicely. So I'm actually going to send it off to a local quilter who's done some other work for me, and she can do just those really beautiful fancy designs on her long arm quilt. So we'll do that. All right, for March, I am going to be starting another devotional. I am doing a Sermon on the Mount study, and I think I purchased this originally from Daily Grace Co. to do in our homeschool, and it's one that we hadn't gotten to yet because we've been just taking our time with the different ones. We're on a study of Jonah right now. I decided I wanted to do this one next after the Psalm study. So I finished the Psalm study I was on, and I think there's another one in that series that I need to order. And I actually realized I really need to get on to Daily Grace Co. and order some more because I've only got a few left on here that I haven't done. I've got like a whole half of the bookshelf that are my completed ones that I've either done myself or in our homeschool. So I need to stock up here soon. But I also listen to the Bible Project podcast. That's one of my favorite podcasts to have on. And they have been doing a series on the Sermon on the Mount this year. And so I thought it would be great to also do a devotional on that, because I feel like it's great to hear kind of different approaches to the study of things. So I've been hearing what they've been talking about on the podcast, and I want to see how this devotional approaches it as well. So I just feel like it's going to give me a really great understanding of the Sermon on the Mount. It's a portion of scripture that I think a lot of us are very familiar with, but there's a lot you can really deep dive into with that and really gain understanding about. So looking forward to doing this, and then also getting onto Daily Grace Co. and buying some more Bible studies. So when I finish this one, I will have some more to do. This one is 6 weeks long, so it should take me through March and into April. So other than that, and finishing off that top quilt, that's it for Faith and Personal. Home and garden, I was working on getting my seeds organized and started. So I mentioned that I track when my seeds should be started and when things need to be done and whatnot. I have tons of seeds for this year, tons and tons. And so I wanted to make sure that I got them all set up and organized and whatnot. So I filled out my garden planner for this year. So I use these printables, and they're free printables. I will try to find where I originally got the download because I just have the download saved. I print off new ones each year, but there are things like monthly planners in here, seasonal planners, calendars, and then you can do different types of trackers. So like garden records from seeds, so you can put down like what you started, where you got it from, when you started it, when did it germinate, when did you transplant it. Like you can fill it out as much or as little as you want. I don't do every single thing on here. Like I don't put like the expected bloom time for flowers and whatnot, but I do keep track of what seeds I started, what day I started them, and if I had any success with them or any like special notes like needs light to germinate and things like that. I also keep track of the things that are actually out in my garden in the back. So this is another page that prints. So when I plant something new, I write in the details on when I should be pruning it, when I should be fertilizing it, just special notes. Because I have a lot of different plants in my garden, and even as an experienced gardener, I can't remember everything all the time. So sometimes what I need to do is reference back to this. So I'm getting ready to do a bunch of big garden bed clean out. I will do a look through here to remind myself of like which things need to be fertilized now, which ones don't want any fertilizer, which ones want to be, left for a while. And over the years, as I take care of the same plants over and over, I start to kind of get that knowledge ingrained. But it's always nice to have this to reference back to. So I will try to link it if you'd like to check it out. I mean, there's like a ton of options for pages you can put in here, so you can pick and choose which ones you want, and it was free, and I like free. So I got all of my seeds organized in the calendar pages in there. It actually has a list of which weeks I need to start which things, and that's all based on how far before our last frost date things should be started. And I've got lots of little babies growing in my room over there. In fact, I'll show you just a little video clip because I was so excited. Geraniums are have come up, artichokes are up. I've got snapdragons starting to appear. I'm starting foxglove, delphinium. I have a rudbeckia going. I have hollyhocks, just a bunch of different things. And we're going to start diving into things like onions next, because that's one of the few vegetables that needs a little bit longer to get started. And then just tons and tons and tons of flowers. And closer to about the 4 to 6 week mark before our last frost date, a lot of my vegetables will get started. So, that's the update on the seeds. My home and garden goals for the month of March. So one, outside, I do need to go and finish up all my garden bed cleanup. So trimming back the perennials, just checking the status of everything, getting fertilizer down, like that first spring fertilizer down, cleaning up the beds, and getting a feel for like what it is I need to order in as far as for garden maintenance. We usually have to get in some of our raised bed mix to top off our raised beds, bags of compost in order to get those ready to go. And we also are going to be expanding out our garden again this year. So I'll try to insert, if I can't get a photo, like a sky view photo of it, I'll put like a little drawing up here for you. But we have a large barn, and then we have kind of like a smaller shed. And on one side of that, I have my raised bed garden. So I have 8 raised beds there with an arbor and a rose growing on it. So I usually focus in on having like fruits and vegetables there. Like right now I have perennial strawberries in one of the beds. I planted garlic last year, which will come up this spring, and then figuring out where things will go. And then on the far side of the barn, I have another 4 raised beds, and I had put in a large in-ground garden. And last year I did all of my vining crops in there, but what I want to do is try to add at least one other very large in-ground bed, if not 2, to be able to, one, shift the vining garden out to a new space and be able to focus in on having more flowers in the ground. And I'd like to have all of the dahlias in the ground, and then really expanding out some of our food crops. So I grew corn last year for the first time. It went really well, but I'd really like to do multiple rows of that along with some other in-ground crops. So we've done the no-till method the last couple of times we've done new garden beds, and it works really well. So we store up cardboard that doesn't have, no staples, no tapes. We try to find ones that have as little printing on them as possible. Lay that down over the grass, wet it down, and then pile it with a couple of inches of topsoil and compost. And then I line those beds with landscape fabric and gravel to kind of edge them in. So that worked beautifully last year when I did the vine crops in that area, because I just used my auger to kind of drill through that cardboard. It suppressed the weeds. I wasn't dealing with weeds. The cardboard breaks down rather quickly, and it just worked out really, really well. So looking to do that for these 2 expansions. I have got 2 pallets just stacked high with cardboard to use for it, but I've got to map out exactly where it's going to go. And if weather is permitting, by the end of March, we'll order in that first load of soil and actually get those started. The other home goal will be working on my son's room. So for Christmas this year, he had asked for all these different things to kind of redo his space. He wanted some new LED lights, new mirrors, new curtains, new bedding. Like, he basically wanted stuff for his room. And he really wants to get it kind of repainted and rearranged. He's very particular about his room. And so we've purchased the paint. We just have not gotten around to actually doing it all. So this month I told him we are going to make it happen. We are going to get your room painted. I'll help you get all of this new stuff up that you have, kind of getting it all rearranged. So that'll be a fun project, because I told him, I'm like, well, you can help me with this one. So we're going to work on that project together. And then homeschool. My first goal was to get my daughter registered for the SAT. Got her registered. She's actually going to be taking it on my birthday because the date in May, she has a 2-day golf tournament out of town. So we actually booked her for the first Saturday in June, and she will be taking it then. And then I wanted to get kind of the research done on my curriculum. I actually have chosen all of my curriculum for next year. And we'll be ordering that. I'm going to be at the Ohio Great Homeschooling Convention first week of April. I'll be there just for the one day. So if you happen to be there on April 4th and you see me, say hi. But I'm going to see if there's any deals on any of the homeschool curriculum that I'm looking for while I'm there. Pick that up. But my March goals for the homeschool. So you've probably seen in the last couple of videos where I've been talking about these electives that I am going to be working on for my kids. And I just posted a video showing kind of the progress that I'm making or the steps I'm following. So my goal for March is to get the life skills curriculum all the way done. And I know that's a pretty ambitious goal to write a full semester curriculum in a month. And I mean, well, at this point, it'll be almost 2 months from when I actually started. But I have been powering through the books and tagging videos and bookmarking things. And so I feel like I've got a lot of the resources all together. I just need to get it organized into a curriculum style format. And so my goal is to have that all done by the end of the month because as I mentioned in that last video, I want to be able to share it with you guys as well as a resource. So I'm going to try to have that all done, and then I'll do a video kind of showing everything that's included in it and how you can get your hands on it. The other goal is to simply have a consistent homeschooling month, where we homeschool every day, where we do all of our group subjects every day, because January and February was so all over the place. Largely because we had to go out of town for a couple different basketball tournaments. Our team hosts a big one in January, so we take a couple days off for that. We took some days off for college visits. We took days off to go to our regional basketball tournament. We took a day off for my daughter's birthday. Like, there was just a lot of random days off. And we just need 4 weeks of consistency. So that is that goal there. All right, that wraps up this recap of how February went and what my goals are for March. Drop a comment down below. Let me know how the month of February went for you. Were there any goals you achieved that you're excited about? Or is there anything specific you're working on as we head into March? Thank you so much, as always, for joining me today, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Happy homeschooling.